we last spoke, a former prime minister is now dating a celebrity astronaut. Donald Trump is being credited with ending the most bizarre war ever. The UK just carried out the most embarrassing manhunt in history. French detectives may have finally caught the men who carried out the heist of the century. Something very dark is happening in Disney World after seeing 3 deaths in just over a week. And Jamaica is preparing to be hit with the strongest hurricane ever. Honestly, the world does not feel like a real place this week. All of that and so much more. Yes, I have got some explaining to do at the end of this video, but let's stop the yapping and let's go. Okay, we gotta kick today off with this. Donald Trump is now being credited with ending yet another war, but this one is very different. Some of you may know it as the console war, the great 20-year battle that has been raging on between Xbox and PlayStation. And honestly, you don't have to be a gamer to understand how bizarre and hilarious this is. So, for some context, one of the most popular video games of all time, Halo, maybe Alex plays it. I feel like Alex plays that kind of game. Well, it's forever been an Xbox exclusive. And so, if you're a PlayStation kind of person, then you've never had the opportunity to play it. Until now. Because yesterday, GameStop, the leading video game retailer in America, they released this statement, which kind of feels a little bit like a government press release. And they took this so seriously. You know, they said things like, acting under its authority as a neutral entity, they hereby declare the official secession of the console wars. And this is because Xbox will officially be releasing their next Halo cross-platform, including PlayStation, in 2026. Honestly, now PlayStation needs to put out another olive branch. I want, personally, Spider-Man 3 on Xbox too. Even though I bought a PS5 specifically for Spider-Man, I hate it. But if that wasn't crazy enough, this whole thing blew up and kind of involved Trump after the White House tweeted this. Trump, as the main character in the Halo franchise, just chilling there by the White House. Because, of course, bro's involved. How is... This is the presidential office. But of course, GameStop, they got involved. They really loved this one. And they started posting their own images too, as you can see. And they kind of gave Trump praise for, you know, his part in ending the war. And then just when you're thinking, oh, you know, is GameStop a bit pro-Trump? They posted this. That is going to be the most iconic picture of 2025. How is it not? Now, to be clear, if I have to be, Trump didn't actually do necessarily anything to end this war, but that's kind of the running joke, you know, because a lot of people are saying, you know, he hasn't actually done a lot of the things in the real wars that have ended, which we'll get to. So I believe that's about 9 wars now that Trump has ended. Speaking about wars, actually, moving on. Also, over the weekend, Trump visited Malaysia along with many other world leaders to attend the 47th summit of the Association Southeast Asian Nations. But Trump himself, his main purpose of it was first to, you know, bust out a couple of moves, you know. That's what probably most of you saw. But also, you know, for trade deals, securing peace, and aiming to actually improve relations amongst Asian countries as well as the United States. So, yeah, it was a peace mission. Most importantly, he actually signed the long-anticipated peace deal between Thailand and Cambodia. It is now known as the Kuala Lumpur Peace Accords. Now, the agreement requires both sides to withdraw heavy weaponry from the border, and for Thailand to release 18 detained Cambodian soldiers. The White House said this is a landmark achievement for international diplomacy that only President Trump could accomplish. And Trump added on top of that on social media, millions of lives saved, such an honor to have gotten this done. But of course, not all Malaysians were happy about this because there was protests at the capital and they were criticizing his relationship with Israel. And then of course, there was criticism back at home as well. Many people are saying that Trump was taking undue credit for this peace deal and that also the peace deal lacks substance, but ultimately, it's there. So, yeah, I guess we'll see if it lasts, but he said that he was on his way to Japan, which I've just got the first female prime minister, so that's gonna be interesting. But yeah, he's got a full-on Asia tour. Bro's the presidential speed at this point with all of his tours. But we've got a lot to cover today, so let's move on. Okay, we also need to talk about what this Manchester United fan is doing. Now, I have been following his journey since he made a promise about a year ago. In October 2024, a 29-year-old Frank Illett, he posted saying that he wouldn't cut his hair until Man United won 5 games in a row. Seems pretty simple, right? Well, no. Look at him now. Bro's got the craziest afro. In fact, a lot of people have been following his progress because he's got about 600,000 followers on Instagram for just not cutting his hair. Bro's even getting into crazy situations in person for this because another Man United fan got banned for aggressively pulling his hair after one of the games.
I'll do what I want.
But everyone is now holding their breath because after a full year, he might have to shave his hair soon. Man United have won their 3rd game in a row for the first time in a long time. So, if their next 2 games they win, this is an end to an era, and I bet he is waiting. He had to do the whole summer in this fro. And maybe I pick up where he leaves off. I am not doing X until we hit 1 million subscribers. Alex, got any suggestion? No, actually, no. Alex, I don't trust your ass. Maybe a petition. Oh, but I don't trust you guys either. You're gonna do something horrendous. No. Cut all of that. Moving on.
Cast it into the fire! Destroy it!
Okay, now I know I say this a lot, but this time is for real. This next story is one of the craziest things I have read in a minute. UK authorities are getting absolutely roasted, deservedly, online right now for this embarrassing situation. A man named Hadush Kebat, an immigrant, was recently arrested and convicted for assaulting a 14-year-old girl and a woman in Epping, Essex, while staying at a hotel. But here's the thing, bro was just 1 month into a 12-month sentence when he was mistakenly released from prison. And if you're wondering why they're releasing, basically there's a situation in the UK where the prisons are so full that they have to release certain people. They try and make sure that it's the people who are like not a danger to the community, but then this kind of stuff happens. But when I was first reading this, firstly, I was a bit like, 12 months? Seems like a very short sentence for what he's been convicted of. But secondly, what's even crazier is that instead of, him seeing that this is his chance to escape and never come back, it went very differently. Hadush reportedly hung around the area for hours, confused, like, why have I been released? Shit is bad when even the prisoners are like, maybe I shouldn't be released. And he even went back. This is genuinely shocking. He went back to the prison 4 or 5 times, reports state, on his own accord, but he was turned away. He was even given a £76 discharge grant. Go and get yourself some food. Get out of here. Scram. And then in the days that preceded that, Hadush kind of just wandered around the town aimlessly. He took a few trains, he ran a few errands, and then by the time police realized that they messed up, they launched this genuinely, I would say, the worst manhunt in history. This is wild. Bro wasn't even trying to not get caught, yet they still couldn't find him. They had to release CCTV footage of Hadush in a library. Bro, it was in a library of all places, and they were asking for the public's help. In fact, he was spotted like several times on CCTV every couple of hours, still in his prisoner tracksuit. Bro was asking to be caught. Eventually, a whole 2 days later, they found him, they rearrested him, and they took him back to prison. I bet he was just like, I was trying to tell you guys this whole time. Keir Starmer finally commented on the situation, saying that we must make sure this doesn't happen again. Understatement of the century. We have ordered an investigation to establish what went wrong. I think there's a lot of reasons. And then just to top all of this off, prisoners getting mistakenly released. As I mentioned in the beginning, it's not even like that rare of a thing. This isn't unprecedented. According to government figures, 262 prisoners were released in error in England between March 2024 and March 2025. 262 in 1 year. In error. I would love to know, what is it that makes them release someone in error? Like, how do you mistakenly release someone? If you got their files, yeah, you should not. You should. I told you, it's not just America that doesn't feel like a real place anymore. It's the UK, and as you'll see throughout this whole video, it's the entire world. Moving on. Also, what the hell is going on in Disney World in Florida? 3 people have died in 10 days. This is supposed to be a magical blend for the whole family. Now, we don't know the exact reasons for all of these deaths so far, but here's what we do know. The first was only a 31-year-old woman who took her own life at the Contemporary Hotel in the resort on the 14th of October. The second was a man in his 60s who died from pre-existing medical conditions, and that was at the Fort Wilderness camping ground. And then, most recently on October the 23rd, there was another man, and the investigation on this one is still pending, so we don't know exactly what happened. Some sources say that he either fell or jumped from a balcony, but of course that is not confirmed. That's just what we're hearing currently. And so while luckily it's, these 3 deaths so close to each other aren't from, rides or anything like that, which I think a lot of people interpreted with the headlines, it's still pretty crazy that there was this many in such a short period of time, because keep in mind, they have about 50 million visitors every single year. And they had that since what, like 1971? So that's billions upon billions of visitors. And they've had only 68 deaths in total out of billions. And then they get 3 in 10 days. That's pretty crazy. Anyway, let's hope the deaths stop here from now, but I'll keep you guys updated as we know more. Moving on. Also over the weekend, Arnold Schwarzenegger, he is going viral online right now for his appearance on CNN. Now, this happened when the host, Jake Tapper, he suggested that Republicans are guilty of extreme gerrymandering, and it's solely a Republican issue. Now, this is basically a political tactic where voting district boundaries are drawn in a way that unfairly benefits one party over the other. But instead of just dogpiling on one side or the other, Arnold, he flipped it.
No, Jake. There has been gerrymandering going on for 200 years. Crazy gerrymandering going on all over the country. And we wanted to try to stop it in California. And we did stop it in California. And we went around the country. So I think this whole thing about finger pointing and saying they did it, so therefore we should doing it, that's not really the way to go. The one party should outperform the other party. It should be performance.
And besides the specific claim that he is making, the reason why this went so viral is that it provided this very rare nowadays political take that wasn't just on one side or the other. It was the ability to criticize both sides despite being in politics himself. He was the governor of California, and people in the comments were praising him for being able to criticize both sides of the political spectrum, even though he announced that he was voting for Kamala last year. But what do you guys think? I think it's interesting that, someone has gone viral purely for being able to be somewhat impartial on the subject. And maybe that's what a lot of us want nowadays. Just a bit more f you too. But of course, those are the voices that don't often rise to the top online because, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But of course, let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments. Moving on. Also, and this is very strange because I posted this on my TikTok and Instagram, and it was met with a lot of sadness, which you wouldn't think because it's catching criminals. Yesterday, French police detained 2 people in connection with the heist in Paris. But here's the thing, they only have 96 hours to hold them before they have to release them, and there's already been about 24 hours. The reports say that they arrested these 2 guys at an airport. One of them was trying to go to Algeria, the other one was trying to go to Mali, and they only found them because they got one of the guys' DNA at the scene of the robbery. I believe they left like a glove, a high-vis jacket, and a couple other things, and that led to the identification of one of the suspects, and then they found the other one while there. We don't have a lot of the minute details, and actually French media and French authorities were pissed that this leaked. They were like, God damn it. But it also makes it interesting because how do they have the DNA of the first guy? Does that mean he's been arrested before? what is it? But again, they are only suspects, so we don't even know if these are the guys, and they might have to release them. By the time you're watching this, who knows? They might be free. Go head over to Algeria and Mali. And also remember, there was 4 men. They only got 2. So I'll make sure to keep you guys updated on that one, but for now, moving on again. Oh my gosh, I never thought we'd be covering dating news, you know, back to News Daddy tabloids. But this one is a little bit different because it's a former prime minister and an astronaut. Very big names in the world. It is official. Astronaut Katy Perry and Justin Trudeau are dating. There's been rumors for a while, but now they were pictured in public. It's very open now. They were seen proudly holding hands after celebrating Katy Perry's birthday, and the reactions online have been fairly hilarious. Because a lot of people are pointing out, how does someone like, you know, Katy Perry meet and connect with a prime minister, a world leader? You know, who DM'd who first? That's what everyone's saying. How does this happen? Anyway, there's your weekly dose of News Daddy tabloids. Moving on. And then for our final story, before we do some housekeeping, yes, I know there's a lot of questions. Something very scary could be about to happen in the Caribbean. Experts are now warning that they expect a Category 5 hurricane, the highest of the high level that you can get. Hurricane Melissa, they always give it the most peaceful, calm names, to hit Jamaica on Tuesday. And they say that this will probably be the strongest storm to ever hit the region. They expect winds up to 160 miles per hour. That is hard to even fathom. The US National Hurricane Center warned of extensive infrastructure damage, long durations of power cuts, communication outages, isolation of communities. I mean, the list will go on. Jamaica is under a severe hurricane warning. They are evacuating certain areas, and honestly, they are bracing for impact. So by the time you're watching this, hopefully I can give you a more sooner update on if it hits as a Category 5, but wish them luck. And for now, moving on. Okay, so for some personal housekeeping, as you can see, I am not at the Empire's capital. I'm in Las Vegas, yet again, for a very good reason. Now, as I mentioned on Friday's video, I was planning to release for you guys a very big surprise, a big video that we have been working on for weeks. But yeah, there were some complications, and we had to postpone it a couple of days, so promises made, promises broken. But I promise you again, you will get this video this week, and it is something to do with Vegas. That's your hint. Anyway, as the Supreme Leader, I don't accept fault or apologize, so I do accept your guys' apology for misunderstanding and mishearing my promises to you. And as we speak, I will be heading on the plane back to the motherland, the Empire's capital. So what you need to know, very big surprise for you this week. Anyway, I think that's a wrap. I'm very happy to be able to get you a video under very excruciating, time-pressured circumstances. So, subscribe to the channel for that, and I will see you on Wednesday.